Arya Stark has been my numero uno when it comes to House Stark since day motherfucking one. She's been a warrior queen, a northern she-wolf assassin who literally Valor Morgulis' men all around the world, gets what she wants, takes what she needs, and only kicks ass. That's literally all she's known for in this series. Now, don't get me wrong, Maisie Williams can act her ass off, but what Arya, in my opinion, is most famous for, of course, debate me down in the comments section, is her incomparable ability to take control of her own destiny, flip the tables on every shitty hand she was dealt, and use it to her advantage. In this video, I'm going to discuss why I think Arya Stark is not only the greatest Stark, but rivals Daenerys and my favorite characters for Game of Thrones. Before we get started, please do me a massive favor and slap a like on this video. The like goal is going to be 420. Also, make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications turned on so that way you'll get an alert every single time I drop a video throughout this long night. And also, real quick, super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/YourHunsReviews. If you all watching this video are interested in joining and showing some extra support for these daily uploads, check out the link down below in the description or the link that's popped off during this video. I want to preface this by saying that one of the main reasons why I, being a male who, I obviously have male tendencies, I like things that are badass, I like sword fights, I like dragons, I like titties. But when it comes to female characters, I've always been drawn to women that are strong, can fight for themselves, and basically are just as capable as the men. Now, obviously, there is something to be said about characters like Cersei Lannister, and Marjorie Tyrell, and Olenna, the Queen of Thorns. All of these are powerful women, even Sansa Stark in her moments. All of these are powerful women in a different way. I've just been naturally drawn to those who pick up a blade and can chop a nigga in half. I'm seriously. Buffy, Storm, every Mila Jovovich character, Selene from Underworld, Xena, the Charmed Sisters, the Pink and Yellow Rangers, April from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Misty from fucking Pokemon, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, even in her college years, which was like a spinoff series, Wednesday from Addams Family, and most importantly, Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen. These are all badass women who inspired me growing up, and there's a reason why I'm drawn to them, and I think it's the fact that I'm a man. I'm drawn to women who have similar characteristics as I do, and I see myself relating to them way more than often because I would do a similar thing in their situation. These women all bend to gender roles, and that's why I'm drawn to them and choosing who my favorites are in series and television, movies, whatever the fuck I'm watching. But getting on track in the main focus of this video, Arya Stark. There's a reason why I choose her as my favorite Stark over Jon. Most of you all, if you watch my videos, you know that Jon Snow is one of my favorite characters, and not just the Game of Thrones television series, but really in A Song of Ice and Fire. Him and Daenerys are my favorite, not just because they are the main characters on the television series, but when you really read the books, you get inside Jon's mind and you realize that he may be one of the most intelligent, manipulative, cunning, smart ass, everything you don't see about Jon Snow on the television, he is in the books, and you can tell that George really enjoyed writing Jon Snow's chapters, much like how he did with Tyrion. And these are the reasons why Jon Snow, Tyrion, and Daenerys are my favorite chapters. Even though Jon Snow mostly acts as honorable as one could be while living at that time and place in Westeros, since we get to read Jon Snow's thoughts, we realize the merit behind his intentions or the reasoning behind his actions. You don't just see Jon Snow do this thing and you're like, hold up, what the fuck? You realize in reading Jon Snow's internal thoughts, you'll see that he's actually tempted, just like most people. It's just that he doesn't act on them. Jon Snow can be manipulative and deceitful. It's just more often than not, his actions are to benefit the better of society in the Night's Watch. And the reason why I chose Arya for the show over Jon Snow for my favorite for House Stark is a simple fact that I enjoyed Arya's scenes more than Jon's. I enjoyed Arya's scenes all the way throughout the series, and there were points throughout Jon's timeline where I kind of watched myself grow bored. So that's the main reason why I chose Arya over Jon Snow. And like I said, I'm naturally drawn to powerful women, and Arya got to see more of the world, and I feel like Arya's scenes, most of them, played more of an integral part to the story for the TV show, in the later seasons anyway. Jon Snow was north of the Wall and dealing with the White Walker threat, but we saw that that meant nothing in the end, and that he was going to kill Daenerys. And if Jon Snow's journey hadn't ended the way it was, well then obviously that would change my outlook on his journey as a whole, and Jon may have beaten Arya as a top contender or my favorite House Stark member. Now, like I mentioned earlier, when you look at Arya's journey as a whole, you kinda can't really debate anything against how it turned out. She deserved to kill the Night King because she's the most skilled warrior in all the Seven Kingdoms. You know how I know this? Because Sandor, Brienne, and a few others were known as the top warriors in the kingdom. Obviously, Jon Snow, as short as he is given some really well-written fight scenes, but Arya was first trained in the art of Braavosi water dancing. Oh wait, no shit, I forgot something. Before that, she was trained to be a northern warrior woman. She knew how to hunt, fish, she could hit a bullseye from a target better than her brother Bran, and she can ride a horse just as well as her aunt Lyanna. Now, all of that, and then you throw in Braavosi water dancing, Braavosi blind stick fighting, faceless man poison training, learning how to steal faces itself, and on top of all of that, Westerosi sword fighting taught to her by one of the greatest swordsmen in the kingdom at the time, Sandor Clegane. Obviously, most of us thought Jon Snow would be the one to kill the Night King, but I've also made the point that if you're going to give Arya the opportunity to kill the Night King, or that's going to be her greatest achievement in Season 8, then she should have died doing it. The reason being is because we would have seen the sacrifices, and her actions would have had immediate consequences. It would have ended in her death, but her death brought about the savior of the Seven Kingdoms. Not only did Daenerys, Jon Snow, Sansa, Tyrion, and all of the main characters, Bran even, Theon, have a major role in playing a major role rather. All of them had a hand in it, but Arya Stark played the ultimate hand and died doing it. That's how I thought it should have ended. Otherwise, give it to Jon Snow and allow him to die while doing it. Or even if he survives, maybe when he kills Daenerys at the end, if that's how you guys want to usurp everyone's expectations, well then maybe make it have some fucking sense and have Jon Snow die in the process. Drogon showing up and just burning the Iron Throne because he saw that his mother had died, clearly from the hands of Jon Snow, is fucking stupid. It doesn't make sense why Drogon wouldn't rip Jon Snow in half, and if that had happened, well then I would have been satisfied and less disappointed with Daenerys' death. And I feel like I don't really need to spend too much time talking in this video about why I chose Arya over Bran and Sansa, and even Ned and Catelyn and Robb himself. I just think it's too obvious. Arya takes the cake. Now, to wrap this video up completely, I just want to end it by mentioning some of my thoughts on where Arya is headed for the Winds of Winter. We have gotten a sample chapter of her for the Winds of Winter, and it's entitled Mercy. In that chapter, she's basically continuing with that theme, which is deadly in George R. Martin's writing, meaning that most other characters that continue down the same path as Arya, meaning that they continue to do things that put them in harm's way and never really fully learning from their mistakes, like Tywin and underestimating Tyrion, that led to his death, and Ned not removing Cersei from power the dirty way or how everybody else is playing, but instead doing it the honorable way, that ultimately led to his death. If Arya continues down this same path, the same thing is going to happen to her. Now, it's very similar to what happens in Arya in the TV show. It's just she hasn't actually gone back to Westeros. So in this Mercy chapter, she's pretending to be a mummer and notices that a guard is actually Rafe the Sweetling, the guy who murdered Lamy, and she basically does what she did to Meryn Trant on the show to Rayford, the guard, who she realizes is Rafe the Sweetling. On second thought, not really. She stabs Rafe the Sweetling in the neck, much like what he did to Lamy, but instead on the TV show, she stabs Meryn Trant in the neck multiple times. I guess it's similar, although on the TV show, Meryn Trant beats up Sansa, similar to how he does in the books, and this is why Arya decides to do it. It makes a lot more sense. Arya's motivation behind killing Rafe the Sweetling in the books as much of everything does, because we get to read Arya's internal thoughts and we realize that she's headed down this irreversible path of vengeance and destruction. Well, we all gotta remember that George has mentioned multiple times in multiple interviews that Arya Stark is his wife's favorite character. That being said, if he killed her off, then his wife would make him sleep on the couch. Now, I don't really think that that has that much influence over his writing, other than maybe giving Arya a crazy journey, but giving her a somewhat decent ending. And how she ended on the television series and going west of Westeros and coming back down from that path of vengeance, I think it's going to be very similar in the books. George has a way of writing this story that makes us think one thing, but then ultimately switches it around and something crazy happens that makes us want to keep reading. And with Arya's journey going into Winds of Winter, I realized that she's going to have a lot more chapters because George, every time he gives us an update on the progress of Winds of Winter, mentions how he's always visiting with Arya, or no one rather, and the fact that he said that she's back in Westeros makes us think that her journey is about to get really crazy. Now obviously we always knew she would go back to Westeros, but the big difference between the books and the TV show is that consequences mean something, and they have results or actions that happen because someone chose to do something. Consequences are real, and Arya deserting the Faceless Men, using their powers to benefit herself and not truly becoming a Faceless Man, will in fact have its consequences. And I'm not talking about some crazy stupid fight scene with the waif in the streets of Bravos and she seemingly somehow survives some crazy knife wound. I mean, it will have depth, it will be well written. The choices and decisions that Arya makes throughout her journey will make sense. In the end, I do see Arya going west of Westeros. However, I've said this for years now. I do think that Arya will end up becoming so consumed by vengeance that when she does finally return home to the north and Jon Snow or Sansa are the one in power and everything seemingly good, she won't feel right. She'll be like a war veteran and she's going to suffer from so much PTSD that she'll have to go someplace new in order to feel at peace. The main reason why I say this, also, if you look at George's history of writing women sort of just disappearing off into the sunset, we have someone like Alyssa Fairman, who, I haven't read that part of Fire and Blood recently, but she basically steals the dragon eggs and then sails off into the sunset west of Westeros. We do know that Lonely Light out there, and most of the people who sail out there are never seen or heard from again. I'm pretty sure Planetos is round, and Arya would end up somewhere in Essos. Thank you for watching, and please, slap a like on this video, as the like goal is weed related and 420. Long night!